Hey, I'm Ryan, and welcome to 77 Rockets Woodworking. In this video, we're going to be doing 2 fall projects using, come over here, this piece of redwood right here. We're making 2 fall projects, so let's get started. So here's project number 1. It's going to be 12 inches long, and it's going to be 3 by 3 piece of redwood. We're going to cove out both top and bottom sides, and we're going to put a slot in, 3 slots for candles, and then we're going to, on the sides, we're going to be putting 3/8 to 1/2 inch dados, 3 of them along the sides for decorative fashion. And on this second one, we're also going to be doing a cove, right? And I'm not too sure yet if I'm going to do a cove on this second piece, but these 2 pieces are going to be done with a half lap joint, and they're going to be 9 by 9 and 3 inches by 3 inches in thickness. And then as you can see, that's my whole layout for the top piece, 1, 2, 3, and then this one is going to be split 1 and then 2. So let's get to it. Alright, so this is our piece of redwood. It's going to be split into 3 pieces, but for right now, I'm just going to cut 1 long piece. Now, I had a subscriber that said I could use a stop block and make my repeated cuts with a certain dimension, and that is true, and I can do that. But when you have different types of cuts, I feel like it's more efficient in this type of way to get that cut and then these 2 cuts, even if these 2 are the same. So this is the way I'll be doing this. So obviously your first one's 12 inches, and I just like to map them out just so that I know. So 12, and then another 9 inches, and remember, thickness of blade. So another 1/8 inch, so 21 and an 1/8, and then the third one, another 9 inches, and then plus the blade thickness, so 30 1/4. So I'll be cutting this full piece right here at 30 1/4. Grab my trusty square, and right now I only have to square off this specific piece right here, this endo. I will scribe the other ones come time, but the main reason that I like to do this too is that so when I do the milling process, I can just run the whole board through, and it's a lot smoother. So let's get to cutting. Now that I've got this cut to my 30 1/4, now we're gonna head on over to the joiner. Let's get started. Yeah, baby. Turn off my joiner real quick. Another thing that I like to do is I like to label at the ends with an arrow, as you can see, hopefully, which sides I'm going to join on. Obviously, I don't put them on the top of these surfaces because it's going to be milled away. But this way, I have a good gauge reference of what I'm going to be doing. So now that I got these 2 sides milled down, now it's time to hit up the thickness planer. And then after that, the table saw. Here we go. All right, so here we are at the thickness planer. This is where we're gonna be milling down our 3rd side. So let's fire this bad boy on. Ooh, yeah. Let's get started. So now we have 3-side surface. This side right here is the 3 inches that we want. So now we flip this bad boy over, and from that square side, as you can see, we need about 3/8 to get that 3 inches. So we're just gonna mark that off and get that cut with the table saw. Let's go. All right, so we have this piece milled down on all 4 sides. So before that I can start cutting my coves, I'm gonna break this down into 3 dimensions. The one for the one piece and then the 2 to split the others. And then I will be drilling my holes first for my candles so that when I cut my cove, I don't have to run my blade at an angle for either side for my drill press. So I'm deciding to go that way. And then when I get to my half lap joint, I'll deal with that then. So 12 inches, 21 1/8. And obviously that right there is gonna leave over my leftover, and my overall is gonna be 30 1/4. So I'll square these off. Let's get to cutting. All right, so time to get these candle holes laid out. So for here, we got our 12-inch piece. So we're gonna do a hole every 3 inches. Get our marks, 3, 6, 9 inches. I'm gonna square those off. Just for reference, squaring them off. And then you know that the width of your stock is 3 inches, so you're gonna go half. So 1.5 inches, center a hole. Same thing goes for these other ones. 1.5 inches. This one as well. 1.5 inches. Just like that. And then these candle holes, same ones. 2 inches, strong 2 inches, like 2 and a strong 1/16 wide at the top. At the bottom, they're 1 3/4, and then the overall length on them is 2.5. So what I'll do is I'll take my tape measure, and I'll go a strong inch over, strong inch over, all the way down, strong inch over, strong inch over, strong inch over. Now you can get those laid out pretty good. Just like so. There's that one. There's that one. And you could kind of eyeball center. I could have made another line to kind of get the distance between these, but I'm just going to eyeball them. And you could do the same if you want. And you can also change the size of hole if you want. So there's our holes laid out just like that. And we'll be drilling those out on the drill press. And on this next one, I'm going to get my layout for our half lap joint. So you know this is 9 inches, right? And you know this thickness of this is 3 inches. So you're going to come over and you're going to get your half of your 9 inches, which is 4.5, right? You're going to square that off just like this. And you're going to come over 1.5 inches each way. So 1.5 inches that way, 1.5 inches that way. And then you can square off each side. And that'll be for your half lap joints. And then you get your thickness of material again for this side. So you can come over here and that 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches here as well. And then you just meet those 2 points with your pencil, just like that. And then square down. Like that. Like that. And that's going to be your waist. Oh, this is going to be your waist. I'll do the same thing on the other side. And then on each of these, I'll have my holes laid out. I'm not going to bore you with that. We're going to get to drilling, come back here, and then start cove cutting. Check it out. All right, so I'm going to knock out my half lap joint first. Now, what I've done is, just so that I'm not too close to the blade, when I make my way inward like this, I made myself a little block so that I can have my hand further away from there and have better control. So how I did that was I applied CA glue to the piece, and then I sprayed accelerator on the actual handle piece. So here we go. We're going to start cutting the half lap. And I'm going to be using a trenching feature right here, which I've already set to the depth of the piece so that I can make my way all the way through on all the cut. All right, so now I'm going to clean this up like this, just like so. You see all that fell out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blade and I'm going to run it back and forth and smooth this out. Check this out. And there you can see I got a nice and smooth half lap joint. On to the next piece. So same thing, just real quick. Get my CA glue, get that on there. And I just took this one off this other one. So I'll apply this accelerator, just like that. Square it up much to the end of my thing and let it sit for a second. Get nice and set up. Just like that, and we're all set to cut. Same thing, break these pieces off. Nice and quick. And see how they're all gone. Now just clean up. Get your saw blade set. Run it through. Nice and clean half lap joint, all with the trenching feature. Alright, so I got up my cove cutting jig, and I'm just slowly going to raise my blade to get the depth I want. I got all my holes cut on both pieces, so let's get rolling. Oh yeah, I like that. Look at that right there. So for my Cove jig, all I did was run two 2x4s across. I took the thickness of my stock and I centered it on my blade, and then I put buildup on both sides. Right here, put buildup, and then clamps on both sides. And then what I do is I'll start my blade really low, maybe like 3/16, and I'll slowly build up per pass. And then the last pass, I just flip it so I get the thicker part of the blade on this side and just take out what I need to. And as you can see, it does a pretty good job of coving. Now on to sanding. All right, so now that these are all sanded down and I blew them off with all the excess sawdust, now I'm putting my mask on and my gloves, and we're gonna hit these with some semi-gloss lacquer. Wow, guys. Well, these came out amazing. Look at these. You too can make these. These are pretty easy. A lot of detail involved, a lot of the cove work, half flap joint, layout, a lot of layout. But you too can make these, and they're a lot of fun to make. It's a pretty easy one-day build. So I hope you guys enjoyed this build. Many more to come from here. This is part of the Fall Decor series. My name is Ryan, and this has been 77 Rockets Woodworking. Get in your shop and do some building too. Have a good night.